calling you a radical. I've named this the Kenny Lofton Era. And if you don't think baseball mirrors culture, you don't know shit, American culture. You know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. Zero. So I've named it the Kenny Lofton Era. Now I want you to think about how pathetic American culture is and how fucking corrupt and how fucking gone it is. The only guy that wasn't a cheater, fucking steroid good, the greatest player of an entire fucking era. All through the 90s, no inflation, the happiest time in fucking American culture. Maybe ever. Downsizing the fucking military. And just remember, 94. What? The contract on America. Tom DeLay's where? Dennis Hastard's where? I mean, up is down, black is white, wrong is fucking right. Baseball metaphors. Think about the greatest fucking athlete, the fucking thumbprint of all culture for all those years, doesn't even get a vote in the Hall of Fame. He's the greatest player bar none. He's the greatest American, I mean, the icon of it all. Now, I want you to think about this. Think about this guy. You go back to 94. In 95, you know they cheated. Major League Baseball cheated for the Braves. Now, who was the player's rep? Lavin. Smoltz. You remember that strike zone? I was an Eddie Murray and Kenny Lofton, my two favorite players. Boy, I picked the right ones. The two greatest of an era. I remember a fucking strike coming to Murray about that high. Rung him up. They cheated! Fuck, they cheated against them Cleveland Indians. I mean, Lofton played with Steve Kerr and name the only fucking two guys in the history of sport to play in a World Series and a Final Four. Oh, he's one. You get into stats like that, his name is on every one of them. Every one of them. I used to say it all the era in those days. I used to say all the time. You want to go deep, make a deep run into the fucking play. I don't give a shit how shitty you are. Just sign Lofton. I'd say I was a gambler in those days. I'd say, who you betting? Whoever Lofton signs with. Don't matter. They're making a pennant run. He's that. I mean, he was the game changer. You think about all those iconic games. Okay, 94. Fucking the strike. He's going. You had Tony Gwynn in the fucking NL. You had Lofton in the AL. They're changing the world. They're just fucking. He would have been the MVP in the AL. Tony. 95. They cheated. When they changed everything after the strike, they cheated. The Indians were that fucking team. Okay, then you just keep rolling on. I mean, every iconic fucking psycho loss there ever was, he's on the... Remember the Cubs game? The interference call? Remember that? The great Cub meltdown? Lofton's on the field for the Cubs. Wasn't his fault. I mean, how about... Remember that fucking psycho worst umpired fucking game in fucking baseball history? Against the Marlins? You remember? Kenny Lofton's on the field tearing it up. Remember? That's the worst umpired game in sport history. The only thing that even compares is maybe the 2002 Game 6 Kings-Lakers when they cheated on that one. Remember the strike zone? I mean, Lofton had one of the greatest eyes in baseball history. He would fucking give pitchers just absolute fits. Fucking strikes are up here. Strike! Remember that? Against the... Kenny Lofton. So, my daughter's going to college at FIDM in downtown LA. So, I'm down there checking up on her. I'm like, I'm going to the series. I'm going to go over and see if I can't scalp a ticket. You better leave now about 6 hours early because of traffic. So I get over there. There's a kid scalping. Dude, I said, I just need a single. Come on. You know, give me face value, blah, 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 blah. That's back when tickets were still reasonable price. No. He's still holding them. Nobody's buying it. I says, go home and make fucking soup out of it. I don't give a fuck. I'll go to the barn and watch it. He's on. No, here, let's go. I was at that game. Remember fucking Dusty Baker's little kids running on the fucking field? That was one of the most psycho things I've ever seen. Fucking bizarro. You remember that fucking game? Giants? Lofton's on the fucking field, Giants. That game was psycho. I don't know how they fucking blew it, but it wasn't Lofton's fault. Now I want you to think about this. This guy is fucking... He's the greatest fucking baseball player of that entire era. All through the 90s. It's unarguable. It's unarguable. The fucking 622 fucking stolen bases. Hit on base percentage over 400 fucking several times. In a pennant run every single fucking game. I mean, he just tore it. How about this game? How about the Yankees Red Sox? Remember when they're up 3-0? Remember that? And that fucking idiot manager put Lofton on the bench the last 4? And they lost all 4? I don't know. You know, they cheated in 95. He should have a fucking ring. They cheated. The 90s was the greatest era in look, we were downsizing the military. The environmentalist movement, oh, we were kicking their ass. No inflation, prosperity. We had a surplus. It was the happiest time in fucking maybe American history was the 90s. Till the contract on America comes on, the baseball strike. The baseball strike, again, 95. They cheated. The Indians, the fucking umpires cheated. You know, race 4, just like I said, 2002, the Sacramento Kings. David Stern under indictment with the FBI. Well, I won't deny that we have a bias towards the Lakers going to the finals. Man, Vlade Divac, fucking Mike Bibby, that fucking team was all that. They were going to win it all. Do you know what the calls were in the fourth quarter of that fucking game in Game 6? Donahue, who was the referee on the floor, went to prison for it. Look it up on 60 Minutes. So I've named this the Kenny Lofton. 16-0, I think the calls were at one point in the fourth quarter. They cheated. Stern admitted they cheated. So why the Kenny? Because American culture has turned into this at the top level to cheat at all costs. It's like fucking basketball here, Lillard. Lillard's never won anything. He was led by 22 points at fucking halftime and lost. Why is he such an icon? Because he fucking sells Nike merchandise. The NBA is not a sport. The NBA is a sportsman. Jared Harding right here. He reminds me of Lofton. He reminds me a lot of Lofton. Fucking people forget how good Lofton could have been a superstar in the NBA. Oh, he made the right choice. Go ask Steve Kerr. Go ask him. Now think about this. You're talking the greatest player. And if you don't think baseball fucking mirrors culture, you don't know shit. The greatest fucking player of an entire, this cheater culture, from fucking the 88 all the way 2007, it's unarguable the greatest, most important, iconic fucking player is Kenny Lofton. And they don't even give him a vote for the Hall of Fame. How is that even? It's like the fucking artist, Kevin Blanche, the artist. I'm never worried about my art, me making the art. It's the curator. Everything's political. Everything's political. The only science is political science. Why is the bias against him? Because the sports writers are that fucking stupid. They're that fucking... American culture is so fucking dummied down, so fucking wiped out. I mean, it's gone so. The environment just crashing, thrashed out. Fucking, it's really not a fucking control fucking that. Don't drink the water, 9/11. But, so I've named this entire era. It's the Kenny Lofton era. I mean, the greatest athlete of an entire fucking era, bar none. It's unarguable. And think about, again, these marquee fucking games that just blow your fucking... I saw a guy the other day. I says, I'm the Kenny Lofton of the activist community, of the art community, of the scientific community. Somebody says, fuck, why don't you do it all? You're everywhere. Joel said it right here, the trainer. He says, fuck, you're everywhere. Like Lofton. How about his gold gloves? You remember that fucking catch up against the wall, fuck, when he goes, I don't know how the fuck he did it. Put his foot on the pad, timed it, counted his steps. It's incredible. I mean, gold gloves, fucking stolen bases, multiple. So you look at records. Only guy to steal 2 bases in the first fucking one. I mean, these type of fucking records. Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton. Then he doesn't even get a vote in the Hall of Fame. How's that possible? How's the greatest fucking player of a fucking 20-year era, bar none? And remember, this is in a steroid goon fucking era where they were all cheating. And he wasn't cheating. He's the opposite. He's the opposite of every one of them. He was on the field with Bonds together. I mean, what a metaphor. Again, I was at that game. Fuck, that game was psycho. I'll never forget it. I'd been at Hollywood Park fucking, right before that, and watching that Philly fucking. I'll never forget that. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Bessie Baker's fucking kids running on the... it was freaky. And then again, the 3-0 fucking thing, and them fucking moron Yankees managers got Kenny Lofton on the bench. He didn't get an AB in those last... I wonder why they lost. The fucking Cubs, interference call they blew. The one that really pissed me, of course, 95, I fucking hated Smoltz and Glavine. I still do. They cheated. That 95 Indians team is one of the greatest teams in history. They cheated. The fucking strike zone was so fucking ridiculous. They cheated. They admitted they cheated. But I go back to that Marlins series. That's the worst fucking umpire game in fucking baseball history. He was ringing up. I remember Lofton. I'll never forget Lofton fucking, because I was gambling then. I'm like, there's a fucking pitch about here. And Lofton's just looking at it. You're talking one of the greatest eyes in the history of the game. And Lofton on the field every one of these fucking games. He never got a ring, did he? You know, like Kellen Lynch. Joel says, you're everywhere and you're everything. He says, fucking blows my mind. I told him I'm the Kenny fucking Lofton of the fucking activist community. No respect. Sometimes when you're just so fucking good, that's him. By the way, my old beat up fucking 99 car has had it. Fucking can't get it to pass emissions. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. You know, I guess go back to walking. That's a long walk, buddy, to the hospital. Gonna party like it's 1999. Fuck, I can't believe it's still limping around. So I've named this the Kenny Lofton Era. How is it even possible? The greatest fucking athlete, the greatest player, the greatest numbers of an entire fucking era doesn't even get a fucking... They don't even give him a vote in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's perfect for American culture, right? How pathetic it is. These sports writers are fucking beyond. I'll tell this story lastly. We were talking about this yesterday. I was over at the athletic club and I ran into a friend of mine. I'm sitting there, I'm doing the play-by-play. Willard's in the boot. Broke his foot. Frank Layden's at the game, and I say, Frank, come here. You know, we're visiting. Trying to get him to do an interview at KWCR 88.1 The Beat, which they sold off the signal. Here comes this scout walking along, and he says, what are you doing, Frank? Oh, just watching some good basketball. What are you doing here? I'm scouting a player. Jazz scout. What are you scouting? I asked him. Oh, this player for Eastern Washington. I said, oh, that dude's good. But I said, there's your NBA player sitting right there. I mean, Damien heard this whole conversation. He's sitting right by me. Of course, he's going to spend his billions. And I said, is that your... The scout laughed. I remember Frank Layden, I says, they're really that pathetic either. And he says, oh, the Jazz are pathetic. The scouts ain't. When you think about Phil Johnson, who's coached here, if Phil Johnson would have fucking coached the Jazz, they had 5 or 6 rounds, and he sat there coaching, waiting, coaching. And by the way, they still never retired. They haven't retired Phil Johnson's number in here. Let's see, NBA coach of the year. You know how good he was there? They finally got Mata when he's, what, about 100? I mean, this is how pathetic these Jarrett Carty. He should be a superstar in the NBA. Of course, he got the big EU contract. But again, these scouts, these writers, these fucking, you know, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. Cheat at all costs at the upper. And the American populace goes along with it. It's the Kenny Lofton Era. I mean, I'm naming it that. Fuck, the 90s were the happiest, the best. Oh, fuck, what a happy time in America. Oh my God, what a happy time. And it was Kenny Lofton deep into the playoffs, compelling baseball every fucking year. Those Cleveland Indians got so fucking screwed. I said in that old stadium, the mistake by the wreck. I used to love that old fucking stadium. Now it's First Energy. Think about that. Nuclear energy bribe stadium. And you wonder why they can't fucking win. Long video, but it needed to be done. It's just a thumbprint of all of culture. Glass Can Burns, the bottom of the 13. The Kenny Lofton Era. It's pathetic. I mean, how can it possibly be the greatest fucking player of an entire era? Doesn't even get a vote? Up is down, black is white, wrong is right. Fuck, American culture completely psycho, flipped on its fucking head. I mean, don't drink the fucking water.